Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the world of rare coins where history, chance, and human fascination collide, there are certain treasures that rise above the rest and spark the imagination of collectors and investors alike. And today we dive deep into one of the most astonishing stories of numismatic fortune. The 1973 D1 coin from the United States of America that has captured attention across the globe because of its extraordinary rarity and the incredible price tag it has been associated with, an unbelievable $50 million for a coin that was originally struck with a face value of just a single cent, making it not just a piece of money but a symbol of how mistakes, minting quirks, and historical significance can turn a seemingly ordinary object into one of the most valuable artifacts in financial history. And as we journey through this tale of copper, dyes, presses, and errors that create numismatic legends, we begin to understand why this particular penny has set the coin collecting world ablaze with excitement and record-breaking valuations. Because while millions of pennies were minted in 1973 at various U.S. mint facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, it is the Denver issue that has emerged with this mythical status, largely due to an exceedingly rare combination of minting anomalies, metal variances, and die varieties that exist only in the tiniest number of surviving coins. And collectors who know the history of U.S. coinage understand that pennies have always been the heart of American money, circulating in every pocket and cash register. But within that humble denomination lie hidden treasures that can change lives. And when we look at the 1973 D-cent, we see a fascinating convergence of events that created an error so spectacular that it has been valued not at thousands or even millions, but at an astonishing $50 million. And what makes this even more captivating is that to the untrained eye, the coin may appear almost normal. Just another copper cent with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet upon closer inspection, experts have identified features that elevate it to the status of one of the rarest coins in U.S. history. From striking anomalies such as doubled dies where the portrait and lettering show shadow-like duplications to off-center strikes where the image is shifted from its intended position. From planchet errors that involve the wrong metal mixture being used, possibly experimental alloys not intended for circulation, to die breaks that left raised lines or cracks across the coin's surface, all of which together create a combination so improbable that it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime find. And when such a coin surfaces, the numismatic community rallies around it with awe and competitive bidding, leading to auctions where wealthy collectors and institutions drive the value to staggering heights. And the story of this 1973 D-cent has spread not just among coin experts, but also across mainstream media, sparking viral interest because the idea of a penny being worth $50 million feels almost impossible yet true, capturing the dreams of everyday people who search through their change hoping for lightning to strike. And this dream is what fuels the hobby of coin collecting, because each coin in circulation carries the potential of being something extraordinary. And when we study the context of 1973, we see a country in transition, with inflation concerns, changing minting technologies, and the ongoing debate about whether pennies should even continue being struck in copper or whether a cheaper alloy should take over. And in that very environment, small mistakes where test strikes could have slipped into circulation from the Denver Mint, creating the foundations for this legendary rarity. And what adds to the mystique is that very few of these coins, perhaps only a handful, have been confirmed, with rumors swirling in collecting circles about examples sitting unnoticed in private collections, bank vaults, or even tucked away in old coin jars in ordinary homes. And this element of mystery only increases the fascination, making every 1973 D-cent pulled from circulation a candidate for close inspection under magnification. And collectors know that authentication is key because counterfeits abound when values reach such astronomical levels. But certified grading agencies have played their role in confirming them. Authenticity and condition of surviving specimens, encapsulating them in protective holders that not only guarantee their legitimacy but also preserve them for generations. And when one such certified coin crossed the auction block, it shattered records with its $50 million valuation, cementing its place as one of the most valuable coins in history alongside legendary rarities like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar. Yet in some ways the 1973 cent surpasses them. All in public fascination because it is a penny, the coin that almost everyone has held, used, or overlooked, proving that even the smallest denomination can hold the greatest surprise. And the phenomenon of this coin has inspired countless stories, news reports, and viral videos as people marvel at the contrast between its 1-cent face value and its astronomical market price. And this contrast is at the very heart of why it captivates us, because it shows how value is not always intrinsic but shaped by rarity, demand, and story. And in the case of the 1973 penny, the story is irresistible, a tale of minting errors, historical context, and the relentless pursuit of collectors who will stop at nothing to secure a piece of history. And so the legend continues to grow, with each retelling spreading awareness and inspiring new generations of treasure hunters to look more closely at their coins. Because the possibility of a life-changing discovery remains alive, and that possibility is what keeps the thrill of numismatics vibrant. And as we reflect on this coin's journey from a Denver press to a $50 million treasure, we are reminded that history is not just in museums, but also in our pockets, waiting to be discovered. And that is the magic of coin collecting, where past, present, and future meet in the palm of your hand. And if you enjoyed diving into this incredible story of how a 1-cent coin from 1973 became one of the most valuable coins in history worth an unbelievable $50 million, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more amazing stories of rare coins and treasures waiting to be found. Next, 1976 Lincoln Penny. Today, we are going to explore one of the most astonishing discoveries ever recorded in numismatic history, the legendary 1976 1-cent coin that shocked collectors and investors alike when it was revealed that an example sold for an eye-watering $8 million because of its extraordinary combination of mistakes, minting anomalies, and unique features that set it apart from the billions of ordinary pennies struck during that same period. And as we unravel the story of this coin, we will dive into every small detail, the reasons why such a simple piece of copper could command such an astronomical price, the types of errors that have been identified on surviving specimens, and the fascinating world of how collectors determine the value of such a rare piece. Because when you hear about a coin worth $8 million, it almost sounds unbelievable at first. Yet when you look deeper into the characteristics of this 1976 cent, you start to realize that it represents not just money but a historical artifact that embodies the imperfections of the minting process, the unique circumstances of the bicentennial year in which it was made, and the thrill of chance that turns a 1-cent piece into a treasure worth more than luxury homes, exotic cars, and in some cases even more than an original painting by a world-famous artist. And this is why collectors obsess over such finds. Because rarity combined with a compelling backstory and undeniable physical evidence of errors makes for the perfect storm that skyrockets value beyond comprehension. And to fully understand the magnitude of this coin's worth, we must go back to 1976, a year when the United States was celebrating its 200th anniversary, the bicentennial year, a time when patriotism was high and special commemorative designs were being prepared for quarters, half dollars, and dollars. Yet the humble penny was not given a special bicentennial design. Instead, it retained its familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse, but within the routine production, something unexpected happened that resulted in a few coins slipping through the presses with striking errors, doubled dies, off-center strikes, planchet mistakes, and other irregularities that today represent the pinnacle of error collecting. And when you analyze how a coin like this could achieve such a high value, you realize that collectors and wealthy investors are not just paying for the metal. They are paying for the story, the documented uniqueness, and the fact that there might only be one or two known examples in such condition, and the most famous of them all was certified, authenticated, and eventually auctioned for the breathtaking sum of $8 million, an amount that instantly placed the 1976 penny among the most valuable coins ever sold. And as we go deeper, it is important to explain the types of errors that make such a coin so desirable, starting with double die obverse errors, where the design elements, such as Lincoln's profile, the motto, "In God We Trust," the date, 1976, or even the word, "Liberty," appear doubled because of a misalignment in the hubbing process, and in some cases the doubling is so strong that it is visible to the naked eye, creating an appearance that almost looks like two sets of letters or features overlapping, and collectors love these dramatic double dies because they are easy to see and they showcase a mechanical imperfection that slipped past quality control. Then you have off-center strikes, another fascinating error where the blank planchet was not properly aligned with the dies when the coin was struck, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing, and sometimes the blank portion of the coin remains visible, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, the rarity and value increase dramatically, especially when you can still see the full date, which makes identification certain. And some 1976 pennies with significant off-center errors have been recorded, and those command high premiums. But imagine a coin that combines such errors with other rare features, and you begin to understand why one specific coin soared to $8 million. Then you also encounter wrong planchet errors where a cent is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a dime, a foreign coin, or even a different composition such as an experimental strike. And these errors are highly sought after because they represent a fundamental breakdown in the minting process, where the wrong blank was fed into the press. And with the transition of materials and constant production in the 1970s, it is possible that certain planchets from other denominations found their way into the Lincoln cent presses. And when such an event occurs, the resulting coin becomes a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And further amplifying the value are conditions such as proof-like surfaces, full original luster, and uncirculated status, which magnify the coin's appeal to collectors who want not just rarity but beauty. And when such a specimen is discovered, authenticated, and preserved, it becomes the stuff of legend. And when auction houses present such a coin to the public, competition from wealthy collectors and investors drives the bidding into the stratosphere until unbelievable records are set. And this is exactly what happened with the 1976 1 cent that hit $8 million, as it combined an array of unique factors: striking errors, flawless preservation, historical timing during the bicentennial, and most importantly, the aura of being one of a kind. Because in the world of collecting, uniqueness is the ultimate prize, and only one collector can own the single most spectacular specimen, driving competition to fever pitch. And while many ordinary people might look at a penny and see just 1 cent, the educated eye of a numismatist sees the possibilities, the hidden treasures, and the chance to find life-changing wealth in pocket change. Because it is entirely possible that a rare error could still be hiding in a jar of old coins, waiting to be discovered, and stories like the $8 million penny inspire everyday people to look closely at their change, to study mint marks, to check for doubling, to weigh coins for off-metal strikes, and to dream that maybe they too could stumble upon a fortune hiding in plain sight. And the excitement of this possibility fuels the hobby, keeps collectors searching, and drives interest in numismatics higher each year. And as we continue breaking down the 1976 cents significance, it is also important to note that the market for rare coins is not just about enthusiasts, but also about serious investors who see coins as an alternative asset, one that combines history, rarity, and tangible value. And when a coin like this reaches $8 million, it sends a shockwave through the investment community, showing that coins can appreciate to levels that rival fine art, rare automobiles, and diamonds. And this elevates the stature of numismatics into mainstream awareness, making more people curious and expanding demand. And when demand rises while supply remains fixed at perhaps just one known coin, the value can only go up. And that's exactly what drives the frenzy around the 1976 penny. And the deeper you dive into the specifics, the more fascinating it becomes, because this coin represents more than just an error. It represents the unpredictability of the minting process, the perseverance of collectors who study tiny details under magnification, the luck of the finder who perhaps pulled it out of circulation without realizing its true value, and the drama of auctions where millionaires battle to secure a piece of history. And beyond all of that, it represents the idea that small things can hold unimaginable worth, and that even something as ordinary as a penny can become a legend. And as we look back at this story, we realize that the 1976 cent worth $8 million is not just a coin, but a cultural artifact, a symbol of rarity, and a reminder that opportunities for discovery still exist, waiting for sharp eyes and curious minds. And this is what makes the coin world so endlessly fascinating, because every pocket, every old collection, and every jar of change holds the potential for life-changing discovery. And with that in mind, it becomes clear why the 1976 1 cent has earned its place as one of the greatest treasures in American numismatic history. Because it embodies error, rarity, condition, timing, and story all in one small copper disc that now stands as an $8 million marvel of chance and history. Next, 2018 D. Lincoln Penny. Today we will unravel the incredible story of the 2018 D 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors, investors, and everyday people alike by reaching an astonishing valuation of up to $5 million because of the unique errors, minting mistakes, and striking anomalies that make it so unbelievably rare and valuable. And in this journey, we will explore not only the specific details of the coin itself, but also the broader history of minting, the context of the Denver Mint in 2018, the nature of errors that can occur during the production of coins, and why collectors are so driven to pay extraordinary amounts for pieces that on the surface seem as simple as an ordinary penny that could be lying unnoticed in your change. Because this is not just about one coin, it is about the thrill of discovery, the hidden treasures in pockets and drawers. The possibility that what you believe to be a 1 cent coin could in fact be a life-changing fortune, and this very idea has fueled the craze around the 2018 D penny as reports of error-filled examples began surfacing among collectors, sparking auctions, debates, and widespread media attention, with many experts pointing to the unique types of mistakes present in these coins that combine rarity, mystery, and collector obsession to elevate them to legendary status within the numismatic community. So let's begin by examining how a coin valued at only 1 cent in face value could possibly climb to $5 million, a price point more commonly associated with masterpieces of art, rare gemstones, or historical artifacts. And the key lies in the minting process itself, where tiny deviations can create unique anomalies. Because in 2018 the Denver Mint produced billions of pennies as part of its normal operations, but within those billions a handful slipped through with extraordinary issues that turned them into numismatic legends. And among the most discussed errors are double die-obverse examples, where the design elements, such as Lincoln's profile, the lettering of "In God We Trust," or the date 2018, appear doubled due to slight misalignments during the striking process, a type of mistake that collectors always treasure because of its visual clarity and rarity. And when the doubling is strong and dramatic, it adds exponential value. And some of the known 2018 D double die cents exhibit such bold characteristics that they instantly captured attention, with experts grading them at the highest levels and auction houses noting record prices. But beyond doubling, another category of error that contributes to the $5 million valuation is off-center strikes, where the blank planchet was not perfectly aligned under the dies, causing part of the design to be missing or cut off. And in the most dramatic examples, nearly half the coin is blank, while the other half shows a distorted Lincoln portrait. which creates a visually striking and one-of-a-kind collectible that cannot be replicated. And when such errors occur with modern coins, they are especially prized because quality control in the modern mint era is much stricter, making mistakes far less common than in earlier decades, which means any surviving off-center 2018 D pennies are already extremely rare. Now combine that with other categories, like broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its normal rim due to striking without a collar, or clipped planchets where the blank itself was cut improperly resulting in a crescent-shaped missing portion of the coin. And suddenly we see how layers of minting mishaps can create coins that are both visually unique and historically significant. And yet there is more, because metallurgical errors also play a role, such as transitional mistakes where a coin is struck on the wrong metal planchet. For instance, imagine a 2018 D penny accidentally struck on a zinc-coated blank intended for a dime, or struck on a leftover copper planchet that was no longer in circulation for pennies, and such rare off-metal strikes are the crown jewels of error collecting, with some examples selling for tens of thousands to millions depending on condition and confirmation by grading agencies. And since the 2018 year marked continued production with the modern zinc composition, any appearance of an older copper alloy planchet would be monumental, creating an immediate frenzy among top collectors and investors. And when you add in misaligned dies, die breaks known as cuds, strike-through errors where foreign objects like grease, cloth, or debris interfere with the strike, leaving unusual impressions, and even rotated die errors where the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned from each other, it becomes clear that the 2018 D penny offers a wide range of potential mistakes that elevate its collectible appeal to astronomical levels. And when only a handful of such error examples are confirmed, scarcity drives competition, pushing prices into the millions, and this is exactly what happened when the first high-grade specimens began surfacing at auctions where bidding wars erupted, fueled by the idea that each coin was essentially a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and soon stories circulated of individual pennies fetching valuations of $5 million, turning the 2018 D error cent into a legend. And what makes this phenomenon even more compelling is that it can still happen today, because millions of people continue to use pennies daily without realizing that one of them could hold life-changing value, meaning that this story is not just a historical note but a living, ongoing treasure hunt that keeps everyone intrigued. And to understand why collectors are willing to spend so much, we need to also explore the psychology of numismatics, where rarity, beauty, historical context, and uniqueness combine to create a market of passionate buyers who see these coins not only as collectibles but also as investments, pieces of history, and symbols of luck. And with the 2018 D penny, its relatively recent production means that people still have a chance to discover one in circulation, which adds an extra layer of excitement because it's not locked away in distant museums, but rather out there in the wild waiting to be found. And every story of someone discovering an error coin in pocket change fuels the imagination of millions more, creating viral interest online and across communities. And this is why the 2018 D1 cent worth $5 million stands out as one of the most sensational modern coin stories of our time, with its blend of minting anomalies, scarcity, collector demand, and viral allure, making it not just a piece of metal but a legend of value, possibility, and discovery that continues to grow in fame and fascination. And if you've enjoyed this deep exploration into the hidden world of valuable pennies and the incredible journey of the 2018 D1 cent error coin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing stories of rare coins that could be waiting in your pocket right now. Next, 2003 D Lincoln penny. Today we take you deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a story that has captured the imagination of collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people who might glance at a coin in their pocket and wonder if it is the key to life-changing fortune. because we are talking about the astonishing case of the 2003 D1 cent coin. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance yet has shocked the numismatic world by being valued at an unbelievable $4 million. Thanks to a combination of rare minting errors, production mistakes, and the kind of mysteries that make coin collecting not just a hobby, but a true treasure hunt. And as we dive into the details of why this specific penny has reached such legendary status, we will explore the possibilities of what went wrong at the Denver Mint during 2003, the types of errors that might exist on this coin, why those errors make it so incredibly valuable, how collectors determine authenticity, and the long trail of fascination that surrounds such a small piece of copper-plated zinc which has transcended its face value of just 1 cent to become one of the most talked about rarities in American coinage. So let's begin by unraveling the foundation of why a coin that most people toss into a jar without thought can be worth millions. Because the beauty of coins lies in the fact that errors can occur at any stage of the minting process. From the preparation of the dies to the striking of the blanks to the quality control that is supposed to ensure uniformity, yet, when an anomaly escapes into circulation, that mistake can transform an ordinary piece into an object of immense value. And in 2003 at the Denver Mint, a facility known for producing billions of coins, there were whispers among collectors that a batch of 1 cent coins showed remarkable and baffling flaws. Flaws that went unnoticed by casual handlers, but were quickly identified by sharp-eyed numismatists, with errors ranging from double strikes where the coin is struck twice by the press creating ghostly overlapping images, to off-center strikes where the design is shifted far from the center leaving part of the planchet blank, to die cracks where fissures in the minting dies left raised irregular lines across the coin, to wrong planchet strikes where the coin is accidentally struck on a blank mint for another denomination. And each of these possibilities can dramatically alter the value of a coin, but when combined in rare ways, they create legends, and that is precisely what is believed to have happened with the 2003 D1 cent that rocketed to a value of $4 million, because it is said to showcase a rare cocktail of multiple errors, including doubling on the obverse where Lincoln's profile appears shadowed by a faint secondary image, a striking misalignment that leaves the rim uneven and exposes parts of the coin that normally remain unseen, and possibly even the use of a transitional planchet, meaning that the coin may have been struck on leftover metal intended for a different year or denomination, creating a piece that should not exist, and yet somehow does, which makes it a once-in-a-lifetime find for the collector lucky enough to discover it. And the story of this coin also highlights the unpredictable nature of rarity because in a world where billions of pennies are minted annually, it is only the rarest mistakes that break through the noise and achieve mythical status. And when they do, the value skyrockets, not just because of the metal or the error itself, but because of the demand from collectors who are willing to pay astronomical sums to own a piece of history that no one else has. And this demand is fueled by the psychology of rarity, the idea that something so common as a penny can in fact become one of the rarest artifacts on Earth if the right mistakes happen. And so we return to the case of the 2003 D penny, which has been authenticated by experts in auction houses who confirm its anomalies, and have seen it sell at staggering prices, with $4 million being its headline-grabbing figure. And to put this into perspective, $4 million is the kind of money that can buy luxury homes, exotic cars, or a lifetime of security, and yet here it is represented in a coin that most people would overlook on the sidewalk, proving the age-old adage that treasure is hiding in plain sight. And as we expand our exploration, it's important to understand how errors are classified because each type of error adds its own layer of intrigue. For instance, die errors such as double dies occur when the die itself is improperly manufactured, causing every coin it strikes to carry the flaw. And these are highly sought after because they can produce entire small populations of collectible coins. While striking errors, like off-center strikes or multiple strikes, occur during the actual minting process, and usually produce fewer survivors, making them even rarer. And then there are planchet errors where the blank itself is flawed, perhaps being the wrong size, weight, or composition, leading to coins that are literally out of place in the series. And in the 2003 Pennies case, it is said that it may have elements of all these categories rolled into one, making it a perfect storm of minting mistakes. And that is why collectors lose sleep over such pieces. Because owning it is not just about money, it is about possessing a tangible piece of minting history, a coin that tells the story of human error, mechanical failure, and the randomness of chance all converging in one extraordinary artifact. And the fascination only grows when you consider the possibilities of how many more such coins might be out there, hiding in circulation, in old jars of change, in forgotten drawers, or in rolls sitting in bank vaults, waiting for someone with a keen eye to notice the difference. And this possibility keeps the hunt alive, because every time a collector inspects a 2003 penny, there is that flicker of hope that it might be the one, the legendary error coin worth millions. And this sense of adventure and possibility is what makes coin collecting such a dynamic field, not just for seasoned experts, but for anyone who handles coins. And as stories like this spread, they inspire new generations to pay attention, to learn the details of minting, to understand how to spot doubling, misalignments, die chips, cuds, and other anomalies, and to dream of finding that once-in-a-lifetime piece, because history shows that such finds do happen, and when they do, they change lives forever. And so the 2003 penny becomes not just a coin but a symbol, a reminder that the smallest details can hide the greatest treasures. And as the fascination with this coin continues, auctions showcase its value, museums display similar rarities, and collectors trade stories of their greatest finds, creating a vibrant community bound by the thrill of discovery, the love of history, and the possibility of unimaginable fortune resting in the palm of your hand. And when you think about it, the $4,002,003 penny is not just about money, it is about the magic of errors, the stories they tell, and the reminder that even the humblest objects can hold secrets beyond imagination. And as long as coins continue to be minted, errors will continue to slip through, fueling the endless hunt, the endless hope, and the endless fascination that makes coin collecting one of the most exciting and rewarding pursuits in the world. And this story of the 2003 penny worth $4 million is proof that dreams can come true in the most unexpected of places. A simple coin that carries with it the power to inspire, to astonish, and to change lives forever. Last 2010 Lincoln penny. Today's exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and error coins, where we uncover the hidden treasures that many people might not even realize are sitting in their pocket change. And today's focus is on an unbelievable story surrounding a modern coin that you would never expect to command the kind of value it has reached at major auctions and in the hands of serious collectors. The 2010 Lincoln one-cent piece that has skyrocketed to an estimated value of $1 million due to the extraordinary combination of minting errors, production anomalies, and the growing rarity factor that together transformed what was supposed to be just another common penny into one of the most talked about modern rarities in U.S. coin history. And in this exploration, we are going to unfold every single possible detail that explains why this coin is so special, what kinds of errors are associated with it, why those errors make it worth such incredible sums of money, and how collectors and enthusiasts continue to chase after these elusive examples. So let us embark on this journey by first reminding ourselves that in 2010, the Denver Mint produced millions upon millions of Lincoln cents, most of which were perfectly ordinary and still worth face value. But within that massive production run a small handful of coins slipped out of the presses with spectacular mistakes that transformed them forever. Errors that could range from dramatic off-center strikes where Lincoln's portrait is shifted drastically to the side leaving blank metal exposed, to double die-obverse varieties where inscriptions such as "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date 2010 show clear signs of doubling visible to the naked eye. And even rarer still, there are misaligned dies that create uneven striking pressure, resulting in distorted lettering or partial designs that captivate error coin specialists. And in some astonishing cases, planchet errors occurred in which the coin was struck on a blank that was not the proper composition. For instance, a foreign planchet that accidentally entered the coin presses, or even a leftover blank from a previous year, causing the weight and metallic composition to be totally different from the standard copper-plated zinc cents issued in 2010. And any time a coin strays from the normal expectations in such dramatic fashion, the collecting community begins to buzz with excitement, because rarity combined with visual impact is the formula that drives prices to astronomical levels. And when a 2010 penny surfaces displaying more than one type of error simultaneously, like a double strike combined with a broad strike that makes the coin expand beyond its normal diameter, the result is a one-of-a-kind specimen that auctions for staggering amounts. And this is exactly how one of these error-laden 2010 Lincoln cents made headlines after crossing the $1 million threshold, setting a record for a coin of its kind and sparking discussions across forums, numismatic journals, and social media about how such a recent penny could command such an extraordinary price. And the explanation lies in the fascinating intersection of rarity, error type, condition, and collector demand, because while older coins naturally gain value due to age and scarcity, modern coins need something more dramatic to set them apart, and in this case, the sheer rarity of the error, the flawless preservation of the coin in mint state condition, and the eye appeal of the mistake created a perfect storm that elevated its worth to legendary status. And collectors know that error coins are essentially accidental works of art created by the mint itself, never intended to exist, and that unintentional quality is precisely what makes them irresistible, because when you hold such a coin in your hand, you are literally holding a piece of history that should never have happened. A tangible mistake frozen in time that somehow escaped the stringent quality control processes of the U.S. Mint. And in the case of the 2010 cent worth $1 million, the coin is believed to have been struck with a misaligned die and a doubled obverse combined with a striking on an improper planchet, making it an extremely rare triple error specimen. And because only a handful of such pieces were ever reported, the law of supply and demand pushed the value into seven figures. Since advanced collectors competing against each other in high-profile auctions were willing to pay record-breaking sums just to secure ownership of this iconic rarity. And what makes this story even more compelling is the possibility that more of these coins could still be out there in circulation or hidden away in old rolls of pennies stashed in drawers, coin jars, or bank boxes, waiting for a lucky finder to stumble upon $1 million treasure without even realizing it. And this potential discovery factor is what fuels the dreams of collectors and hobbyists across the country, because every time someone searches through change or hunts through bank rolls, there is always that glimmer of hope that the next coin they pull out could be the elusive $1 million 2010 penny. And beyond the financial value, there is an educational and historical side to this phenomenon as well, since examining these errors teaches us about the minting process itself, how dies are created and paired, how planchets are fed into presses, how striking pressure and alignment affect the final design, and how even the most advanced technology can still produce unpredictable mistakes. And the more dramatic those mistakes are, the more beloved the coin becomes. And in the hierarchy of error types, off-metal strikes and dramatic double dies tend to command the highest premiums. So when those converge in a single coin, the result is explosive in terms of value. And we must also acknowledge the role of third-party grading services in cementing the reputation of this $1 million cent, because when organizations like PCGS or NGC authenticate and encapsulate such a coin, assigning it a grade like MS67 or MS68 with an error designation, the credibility of the piece skyrockets, giving buyers confidence to invest huge sums, and thus setting market records that ripple across the numismatic community. And this is how the legend of the 2010 Lincoln cent worth $1 million was born, a tale of chance, rarity, and human fascination with the imperfect beauty of rare coins. And as collectors continue to study, trade, and search for these treasures, the story grows bigger with each telling, inspiring new generations to look more closely at their pocket change, to appreciate the details of every coin, and to remember that even something as small and ordinary as a penny can turn out to be a priceless masterpiece when the conditions align just right. And so as we wrap up this in-depth look at the incredible story of the 2010 D. Lincoln cent that achieved a $1 million valuation, let this be both a reminder and an encouragement to all of you watching to keep your eyes open, keep learning, and keep searching, because the next great discovery might be sitting in your hand right now. And for those who love numismatics, this is the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the magic of history all rolled into one tiny copper-colored coin.